Brethren, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Gonna be diving into the latest around Arsenal. According to David Onstein, Arsenal have 3 priority targets for the summer, and that is a centre forward, a holding midfielder, and a fullback, right? We're going to be diving into that. But also what is very important in this video is that we're going to be attaching a priority player to all of those positions. It looks like Jesper Lindstrom is back in the news. Gabri Veiga is also in the news as well, as Arsenal are interested. Roman has been talking about Gabri Veiga to Arsenal. He says at the moment it's quite very early, but you can't rule out a move for Gabri Veiga to Arsenal because they are really looking for someone in that area. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Xhaka could sign a new deal until 2026. I want your thoughts and opinions on that. He's currently 31, and by 2026 he will be around 34. I think it will be around 34-35. So do you think Xhaka should get another 2-year deal or 3-year deal at Arsenal? Do you think we should give him like 1 year, 2 years, or should we go as bold as 3 years? Let me know in the comment box below. Of course, I'm in a very good mood. Arsenal did beat Leicester City by 1-0 over the weekend, and that means if we win on Wednesday, which is the day after tomorrow, Arsenal will be 5 points clear on the Premier League table. How about that? How about that to start your week? Now, let's get this video to 500 likes, and in the comment box below, let's join the conversation as well. So where do we begin? Let's start off with David Onstein and his big story. He was talking to NBC Sports Soccer, one of the big channels right now in terms of broadcasting sport in the US, and he was saying that Arsenal will have targets for the summer. A holding midfielder is key. They will be looking to for depth and strengthening at fullback, and he says maybe even a centre forward. That is David Onstein talking to NBC Sports Soccer in the US. Now, look, he's spoken about Arsenal targets before. I think this is the 3rd time that he's spoken about Arsenal targets. And tell you what, whenever David Onstein releases something about Arsenal, he's always absolutely spot on. I've not seen David Onstein reporting anything about Arsenal and it goes astray. I've not seen him report anything about Arsenal and it doesn't happen. Last summer, he told us about a fullback, and Arsenal really did try to sign someone at fullback. You remember we tried to sign Tino Livramento, but then he picked up a long-term injury. He talked about a midfielder. Arsenal did sign a midfielder in Fabio Vieira, and he also talked about Gabriel Jesus and talked about a centre forward and a left back. So whenever, I think he's one of those journalists, David Onstein, that do have inside sources, inner sources within the club. And I think he's one of the journalists that actually confirmed the story of Declan Rice being a top priority for Arsenal, and Arsenal will be doing whatever it takes to sign Declan Rice in the summer. Now, he says Arsenal will have 3 priorities in the summer. Number 1 is a holding midfielder. That is Declan Rice. I don't think now anyone is in doubt that Arsenal will try to sign a holding midfielder. We've made Declan Rice the top priority. David Onstein, Charles Watson, all these other big outlets have actually confirmed that Arsenal will be trying to sign Deckers in the summer. A centre forward. I'm not really sure the type of centre forward we want. Actually, that is the only position right now that I cannot come out and say that Arsenal are interested in this one or Arsenal are making this kind of player a priority. But what I know about that is that players like Marcus Thuram, Ivan Toney have been mentioned in conversation with Arsenal, and we'll be diving into that. And then at fullback, we are talking about a right fullback, a right back, and that could be the young player at Real Valladolid that Arsenal tried to sign in January. Now, when I look at all these positions, I think we are working in the right direction. We need a holding midfielder. Thomas Partey is playing way too more games than his fitness can handle. I think he's a great player, and I think every Arsenal fan loves Thomas Partey. But to be honest, he's playing more games than his fitness levels can handle. Just look at that area now. We have Elneny in there. We have Xhaka in there. We have Jorginho, Elneny, Partey, and Albert Sambi-Lokonga. But when we lose Thomas Partey, now that Jorginho is in, it looks like the quality doesn't drop so much. But when you take Jorginho out of the picture, the rest of the players cannot give you what Thomas Partey gives you. And even if they did, Elneny is 31, is 32, 33. Xhaka himself, if he can retire in that role, he's already 31. Jorginho is already 31 as well, and Thomas Partey is approaching his 30s. So you need a younger player. You need someone who's going to come in and be an understudy and be the glue to this team. Remember, our average age as a team is around 23.8, 23.9 this season. So you need a younger player. I don't have a problem with old players. I don't have a problem with experience. But I think in holding midfield, we need a player that can, come in 25, 26, come into that role, create a lot of relationships with the other players that are going to be at the team for a very, very long time. So if Deckers came in, you reckon he's going to have a very good relationship with Martin Odegaard, good relations with Martinelli, good relations with Zinchenko, good relations with Gabriel Jesus and Bukayo Saka. So you have a whole team that is going to be stuck together for the next 5-6 years. That's why I think Arsenal really do need a holding midfielder. But then also, you've got to agree, Jorginho signed a 1.5-year deal. I don't think he's going to sign a bigger deal than that. Maybe if Arsenal are going to retain him, they will retain him for another extra year. Thomas Partey, I reckon he will stay at Arsenal for a very, very long time. But Mohamed Elneny, after next season, he will be leaving Arsenal. And remember as well, we are going back to the UEFA Champions League. We're going to be competing at the highest levels. Games are going to be coming in thick and fast. And the intensity of those games is going to be absolutely levels. It's going to be absolutely different. Look, we've been crying about the Europa League, Sporting CP, Arsenal, Cossy collapses because they've drawn Sporting CP. In the UEFA Champions League, you could be drawn against Bayern, PSG, and not Borussia Dortmund because Bayern is in there, but and FC Porto, okay? Porto, Bayern, PSG, and Arsenal. That could be a real group of death, right? Because Arsenal would then be the underdogs. The rest of the teams I've talked about there have been qualifying for Europe consistently for the last 10 years, okay? So for us to match the levels and expectations of such a high level so that we don't become this kind of Tottenham Hotspur or Man United, you got in there, you dropped into the Europa League. You got in there, you always dropped into the Europa League. For us to do that, we need to be absolutely going bold in the next transfer window. So a holding midfielder for me is absolutely key. A centre forward is key. Let's agree on this. A centre forward is key. Now, if Leandro Trossard is going to be backing up the left-hand side with Gabriel Martinelli, competing with him, Saka, probably we will find a right winger as well. We will then need to find a good centre forward. Edin Ketia is not Champions League material, to be honest. I don't want even to lie. I don't want even to go, Cossy's up, is at it again against Eddie. Eddie is not UCL material. We've already seen it. He cannot get himself together in games against Aston Villa, Leicester away at the King Post Stadium. When Arsenal playing at the Emirates Stadium, he will score. He will get 3, he will get 2, he will get 1. But you need big game players on a big stage, even on the road. For example, we will be going to the Allianz Arena very soon. In the next 3 years, I reckon we'll be going to some of the biggest stadiums, the Allianz Arena. We will go to the Turin stadium for Juventus. We will go to probably the San Siro, some of the legendary venues in the UEFA Champions League. You'd need big game players. And I'm gonna say this: if Arsenal ever think about signing Ivan Toney, that would be a massive transfer boost. That would be a massive buy for us. Because I think what we lack is that kind of centre forward that whenever he's thrown goal, you expect him to score. We don't have that in our team right now. I think Gabriel Jesus is very good. His XG, shows that. But in terms of conversion, the rate at which he's converting his XG actually is very, very low, okay? But I think with Ivan Toney, you have a big center forward who can battle big defenders, who can battle big players, who can go on a big stage and create those very, very difficult situations for the opponent. So at center forward, I think it's right. We need a center forward, a big one. Either Marcus Thuram or Ivan Toney would be very, very good shot for Arsenal. And then at fullback, I don't care who comes in. To be honest, I have Tomias already there and have Alexander Zinchenko at left back. So I don't care who comes in. Ivan Frasneda is the target, but I'll be okay. I'll be okay with whoever comes in. So those are 3 positions. Holding midfielder is Declan Rice. Center forward, it is Marcus Thuram at the moment. And fullback, it is Ivan Fresneda and Tino Livramento, right? So those are the three positions Arsenal will be looking to fill in the summer. To be honest, I also want a central midfielder in there, but I think Mikel is looking at it this way. I have Fabio Vieira. Emil Smith-Rowe is coming back, so I don't. He even doesn't have where to play Emil Smith-Rowe, because Emil plays where Gabri Martinelli plays, right? And Martinelli has been sensational this campaign. Trossard has been sensational ever since signing for Arsenal. I think Emil Smith-Rowe could take over from Xhaka, because he's our number 10, and he's responsible for a lot of goals. Being scored for Arsenal last campaign. He did get himself involved in a lot of goals last campaign. You can't just drop him, okay? So for me, I think it will be a midfield later on. It will be a midfield of Odegaard, Smith-Rowe, and Partey, or Declan Rice, Smith-Rowe, and Martin Odegaard. I reckon Arsenal, at some point in time, will line up in that formation. But today we are also linked with two very brilliant players, very, very brilliant names. One of them is Jesper Lindstrom. We've always talked about Jesper Lindstrom as one of those players that Arsenal have always been interested in. And this story comes in from the Inside Farm, and they're saying Arsenal are serious about signing Frankfurt's Jesper Lindstrom and are preparing an initial offer. The player has made it clear to Frankfurt he wants to leave in the summer. Now, I think even before the World Cup, Arsenal are interested in Jesper Lindstrom. This is a story that has been here for quite some time, and we are not the only team, surprisingly, not surprisingly, but we are not the only team that is interested in Jesper Lindstrom. A couple of other teams are also tracking him. He's one of those players that I've looked at Frankfurt, and I'm like, there's a player in there, right? Is he Arsenal quality? Is the kind of guy we need? Probably not right now. I think Arsenal will sign a left midfielder, in my opinion, like a left winger. I think Trossard was kind of a getaway, okay? He was kind of a getaway. So Arsenal will eventually activate their left midfielder, either Leroy Sané or Moussa Diaby or Pedro Neto. I can see any of those names being recycled in the summer for discussion, and if it happens, then it happens for us. I would also love to see Arsenal try to sign Karo Mitoma, great guy, great boy, and very, very great lad. So if we can get Karo Mitoma as well through the door, that would be absolutely amazing. But what I like about this move for Jesper Lindstrom is it could be one of those moves that don't cost us a lot of money. It could be one of those moves that Arsenal go in, negotiate around 35 million euros, and then get the deal done. His current market value is around 35 million euros. So if you can get that done for 35 million euros, that means you have a left winger who can play for you as an attacking midfielder, as a false nine as well, and maybe even as a right winger, as an inverted right winger. He's ecstatic, isn't he? I mean, he's lovely to watch. He's one of those players that are really, really lovely to watch. And if Arsenal try to get him, he would be amazing. I've not seen him do very fantastic things for Denmark, but I reckon we will see his magic very, very soon. So Arsenal interested in him in our pursuit for reinforcements in the summer. I think going into the Champions League, we can even do better than Jesper Lindstrom. But if our budget says we sign Jesper Lindstrom, then I don't have a problem with that. I mean, adding more squad value, he's in that age bracket of 23 to 26. The resale value also is still there as well. So I don't have a problem with Jesper Lindstrom if Arsenal want to sign him. But the other interesting name in today's discussion is Gabri Veiga. As Arsenal try to sign a central midfielder, like we have been told by Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano says on Gabri Veiga, linked to Arsenal, I think it's way too early before linking him with big clubs like this. I'm told four of five top clubs are scouting and monitoring him as a top talent, and is doing great in La Liga. But it is something for the future and not for the present. That is according to Fabrizio Romano. Now, Gabri Veiga is one of those players that's having a fantastic season. And, whenever a player is having a fantastic season, links are always going to emerge. Links are always going to come out. Now, I don't think at this point in time, we can deny any rumors, especially when it comes to Arsenal. I think we are desperate for quality reinforcements. And you look at where Gabri Veiga plays, he plays predominantly as an attacking midfielder, but much of his work comes in as a central midfielder. So I think he's played this season 9 games as a central midfielder, and that's where most of his goal contributions have actually come in. And then he's played around 8 games as a 10 or attacking midfielder. I mean, 9 as a box to box, and then 8 as an attacking midfielder or as a 10. And one thing I've looked at this guy is more like a Santiago Cazorla. He's more like that guy, right? That is the type that is the kind of player he is. Loves to get on the ball. He's gonna create for you chances. I think he's that prototype of Serge Milinkovic-Savic central midfielder, but more like an attacking midfielder. Scores a lot of goals, creates a lot of chances, and that's what we are missing in our midfield. I've already said it that for me, our midfield will be complete if Arsenal go out there and find a good central midfielder that can score goals and create chances. Look at Man United. United having Eriksen is a deal breaker for them because they already have Bruno Fernandes as a number 10, good guy, good lad, creates a lot of chances, loves to have a go at goal, and is a little bit not clinical these days, but we know he can score the goals. So if you have a player like Martin Odegaard, who is more like a Bruno Fernandes, is gonna do all the work for you in terms of progressing the ball, breaking the lines, the key passes and everything. How about getting a player that can do more in terms of getting himself onto the score sheet, but also do more in terms of also creating chances for your strikers, and that could be Gabri Veiga. But it's too early for us to say we are signing him. It's too early for us to say that anyone will sign him. His market value is around 15 million euros, so that shows you that a transfer is not actually on the cards. So I think when a club is about to sign him, or when a club is actually really interested, his market value will go a little bit up because he's having a fantastic season in the Spanish La Liga. So that is it from me this early morning. Arsenal want 3 in the summer: a holding midfielder, a centre forward, and a fullback. Let me know which positions should we prioritize and which players should we prioritize in those particular positions. Subscribe to me on the Night Team podcast, and I'll see you soon.